Peter Laanen was born July 3, 1946, in war-destroyed Rotterdam, the Netherlands. He grew up in a city rebuilding throughout his youth and a family living in a blue-collar neighborhood. Here's the four brothers from two continents, but managing a yearly brother lunch gathering. During the 50s, he played daily soccer in the streets of Rotterdam, only made possible by the lack of cars in those days. At the age of 11, his father became seriously ill and passed away rather shortly after Peter's 12th birthday. That year, he was selected out of hundreds of kids to become a player at his dream soccer club, Sparta of Rotterdam. Since no one was able to support him that very year, he had to give up his dream and went to another old soccer club closer by, Steeds Hooger of Rotterdam, a first championship at age 15. Transportation got a little easier when he turned 16 and drove a Tomos moped, and boy, he was proud of it. Even though he was booted from the Sparta Pro training squad at age 21, he enjoyed 5 championships with 3 clubs. Because of his family situation, Peter had to become a member of the workforce after high school in order to support the family. Many night courses, both in the computer and the administrative field, would haunt him for many years. However, in the meantime, he was also an integral part of 2 cabaret groups that he, Buddy Martin Corsten, father of the famous DJ Ferry, and his brother started. Successful? Yes. Money-making? After a couple of years and enough tryouts at radio and TV, it was clear that there wasn't a pot of gold on the horizon. Given his administrative education, Peter was hired by the United States Army at age 21 to become an IBM accounting machine operator and programmer. Punch cards were the name of the game. The same year, for another tour at Sparta, where as an amateur, he made the pro selection squad. After demanding a contract halfway through the season, to his astonishment, he was let go.
I'll tell you what though, I was a cocky prick. To be very honest, sounds rude, but I was, so I ate some serious humble pie and I deserved it.
A lesson learned for life. However, Peter was never without playing soccer, this time at Alexandria of Rotterdam. This sizzling header he scored was used by Peter 35 years later to teach California kids how to hammer the ball into the net. His ambition, leaving the punch card scene, drove him to a reputable wine merchant in Rotterdam called Carpen Company. They were setting up their EDP department with powerful Honeywell Bull equipment. It would be, in the end of the day, the perfect setup for the first company he'd start.
I tell you what though, that compiling took hours because we worked with punching cards, right? So next was the tasting room at Carpen Co. And man, did I learn how to drink wine.
Days and nights of programming in the General Electric symbolic assembler language, with hours of testing and compiling, built enough endurance for the years to come. And yet trying to find some time for his children from his first marriage. After Carpen Company was bought by famous distiller Henks, he was asked to redo the software of software house Holland International Computer Services. The software house hired him in 1973, and he enjoyed his first company car, a Mini Cooper. It didn't take long before Peter became manager of the digital equipment and the data point division. After a long trip with various Dutch publishers in the USA from coast to coast, starting at Digital's headquarters in Maynard, Massachusetts, he was convinced that clients had to be served by one partner, responsible for hardware, software, and maintenance. After the founder and CEO of Holland International turned down his proposal, he decided to go his own way and started Multifunction Computers at age 30 in the year 1976. He left a great paying gig and found a financial partner who invested 50,000 guilders. Gutsy statements like, "We'd rather not sell a computer system than a dysfunctional one," stole the hearts of the press and the prospects. The 10 years that followed brought exciting new developments like microcomputers. Handheld terminals with modem. Peter Laanen demonstrates in 1981 what it can mean for healthcare facilities during a Veronica TV program. Wireless infrared terminals for container movement and paperwork. Sponsoring became an integral part of Multifunction's marketing. All activities were leading to an IPO after Guild Venture Fund stepped in. The PR machine was in full swing when Multifunction became named sponsor of baseball team ADO, The Hague, calling itself Multifunction ADO for the next 3 years. And it made the computer magazines because Peter decided to hit instead of throwing the first pitch. And he sang the title song, Multifunctioneel, personally, after producer Hans van Hemert insisted. Famous Dutch cartoonist Peter van Straten got involved to draw cartoons based upon Multifunction's total automation concept and important politicians. The IPO was inching closer, and the investment magazine started to do interviews and giving opinions about the pricing. Then the big moment was almost there. April 25th, 1986, Amsterdam. Even though the management team decided to price a share at 18 guilders, trading started at $29.80, and it was one of Peter's proudest moments of his working life, watching the big board while traders surrounded him. But they weren't done yet. Not much later, Multifunction and competitor Minihouse announced their merger, and once more excitement in the world of papers and magazines. Yes, the surprise of the year. After serving 6 months on the board of directors, Peter called it quits, not only because of the nature of his new role, but also because he was approached by executives of the Royal Dutch Baseball and Softball Federation to become their new president. Unfortunately, then-President legendary Gus van der Heyden passed away January 18, 1987, and Peter had to take the reins earlier than thought. The first goal was to find money to reduce the deficit, and after feverish negotiations with Wang Computers, they became the main sponsor and felt proud about the European successes in 1987. Our young national team, managed by feisty American Pat Murphy, grabs rather unexpectedly the European title over Italy and secures a spot for the Olympics 1988 in Seoul, Korea. But wait, another important event took place August 28, 1987. That's 25 years ago. The offspring, Bo Peter, Kai, and Ivar, played soccer, of course, and baseball. And sometimes they perform. Back to money. More is necessary for the Olympics, but also for the youth programs. Peter worked hard during 1988 on a deal with Coca-Cola, and finally they came to terms. Just before that, the financials for the Olympics had been secured, be it that the executives were all traveling on their own dime. Seoul was a lot of fun, and the Dutch national team secured an honorable 5th place after beating Taiwan. The financial health plan for the Federation came when Peter and event executive Jacques Rivers decided to introduce sponsor suites for the famous Haarlem Baseball Week. It turned out to be a huge financial success. Also, after Peter stepped down at Multihouse, he was immediately asked by a computer magazine to write a weekly column. On November 8, 1988, a paperback with the 50 best columns of Peter Laanen was released. Brother Rob made sure all of the automation people that were chasing Peter were well illustrated. And almost nobody caught the anagram GELUL, or bull. As promised, Peter stepped down late 1989 after restructuring the Federation. It was time for the last leg, and a difficult one because some of the sitting executives didn't fit the new model. But at the end of the day, all was accepted, and Peter could withdraw as the winner, according to the Volkskrant. Results of the national teams improved on a yearly basis, and in 2011, the Dutch national baseball team surprised friends and foes by becoming the first European World Championship baseball team. They beat Cuba in the finale 2-1. The celebration in the Netherlands was un-Dutch. Peter felt seriously honored when he was asked to speak as the keynote during the 100th anniversary of the Federation, March 17, 2012. What a reunion! To date, 18 Dutch players are active in the American League.
And don't forget, there's one more important person. That's Hensley Meulens. He's the hitting coach of World Champion 2012 San Francisco Giants, and we only knighted him like a month or so ago.